Hello there, I'm Anna Amelia from North East Animal Rights. Today is World Day for Animals in Labs, WDAIL. Today we remember, we raise awareness of, and speak up for the animals being tortured in the name of science in labs. Every 8 seconds, an animal will die in a UK lab. I'll come back to that figure at the very end. Monkeys, pigs, horses, cats, dogs, guinea pigs, rabbits, rats, mice, hens, ducks, and fish are tortured by pseudoscientists who cannot see outside of their barbaric methods to embrace and use the huge technological advances available to them right now. Some tests are over 100 years old. Imagine how the world has advanced in 100 years, yet we still use the LD50 test, the lethal dose 50 test, developed in Victorian times. Universities where 50% of experiments take place are supposed to use animals in experiments as a last resort and be able to prove that they have looked at alternatives. But who checks this happens? They check themselves. Experiments, once data is collected, is supposed to be shared and made available to make sure that they do not need to be repeated. So we don't have universities across the country doing exactly the same experiments, torturing the same species of animals. But we see countless experiments duplicated over the country for each cohort of students year after year. Newcastle University, who's close to us when we do our Newcastle outreach, they are a massive animal tester. They carried out 16,737 experiments on animals in 2024, 15,725 on mice, 690 on fish, 156 on rats, 150 on birds, 8 on macaques, and 4 on marmosets. 8,599 of those were above the reporting threshold and were on mice and fish. The reporting threshold is a pain level equal to or greater than the insertion of a hypodermic needle. So that's a considerable number of experiments taking place where, real pain is, never mind the distress of being bred and kept in captivity, but these are real experiments hurting real animals. Animal sentience is now enshrined in law. This is something that animal rights activists we've known about this for hundreds of years. It's something which we also know, though, and everyone can blatantly see, is that a human body is very, very different to those animals being used. So those animals at Newcastle University, mice, fish, rats, birds, we're very, very different. Humans do not have the same body as a mouse or a rat or a zebrafish. Do you even know what a zebrafish looks like? They're very small. They're small fish. They're completely transparent, and they're used because they're very, very easy to breed. They're good breeders, so they have a constant supply of cheap animals to test on. But also because they're transparent, they can see the results of the testing very, very easily. But even those animals who do look more like us, macaques and monkeys, we aren't macaques and marmosets, and we still have big differences in our physiological makeup. But the one thing which is common is that we all feel pain. But what happens to all these animals once they're no longer of benefit to the testers? Are they sent off to retirement? Are they rehomed? Are they sent to a sanctuary? No, they're not. They're killed. They're disposed of humanely. They're dispatched humanely. That's what they tell us. They're killed, essentially. In 2022, from a Freedom of Information request we raised with Newcastle University, in 2022, only 4 rats were rehomed. So out of the thousands of animals that they tortured, only 4 survived. In 2023, only 3 chickens were rehomed. We don't know the figures for 2024 yet. They haven't released those. But these are all the animals. I mean, 16,000 experiments in 2024, and we know that only a very, very small number will be rehomed. Animal rights activists have campaigned as long as they've been experiments, yet we still have them. We're patient people. We know the world doesn't change overnight, but especially particularly where millions of pounds are involved. But we've had enough now and can be patient no more. Politicians send us responses to our correspondence where we talk to them about, stopping animal experiments. They say to us that animal welfare is paramount, that they care about these animals in laboratories and they make sure that these animals are looked after within the law. They're committed to supporting the phasing of animal testing, to phasing it out. It's utter nonsense. The alternatives are already there. It doesn't need to be phased out. It needs to be stopped. So stop pushing this further down the line and stop listening to those who make millions out of animal misery. Just do the right thing. For those of you out there who want to help, sign this petition. It's if you Google parliamentary petitions, this is obviously UK based, and the number 700262. We have put this on previous posts. If you look at Wednesday campaigns or those which show our support of FEAT, FEAT, and this petition is on there, but it's Parliamentary Petitions 700262. You might think that petitions are a waste of time, but they're part of a multifaceted approach in campaigning. We need awareness, we need alternatives, and we need the laws to be changed. So the campaign in April is part of the awareness and the education. We need the alternatives out there. We know that Animal Aid and lots of other organisations, animal-free research, have many, many alternatives now, and they're very, very effective. But we need the laws to be changed as well. So we need petitions and politicians to be part of it. The next thing that you can do as an individual and as part of people power, you can contact your MP and ask them to stop animal testing, not phasing it out, not pussyfooting around and faffing on, not excusing it, not listening to those who make money from it, but stopping it. If you don't know who your MP is, Google, find your MP, and you'll be taken to either parliamentary website where you put your postcode in, or they work for you. There's a few different links you can take. You can follow who will tell you who your MP is, and then that will take you to a link which has your MP's email address on. Also contact your local universities. There's another really good link which shows you those universities who do test on animals and those who don't. So Google Universities Challenged. That's Universities Challenged, and check before you make a decision to go there. And if you're not a student, you can still contact them and ask them to stop and use the many alternative-free, the animal-free alternatives which are out there now. But if you're a student who's considering going to a university and you're checking now if your university does test on animals, and you're pursuing animal agriculture or a science, like a medical science course, and you're an ethical vegan, know your rights. You can and should ask for an alternative. They must, in law, provide alternatives without detriment to either you as a student or your qualification. You can also support the amazing animal anti-vivisection groups out there, the many of them across the UK. There's Exposed and Cruelty, Vivisection Exposed, there's Finally End Animal Testing, there's also the people outside of Camp Beagle, day in, day out. So please support them. Not just through April, but throughout the year. Follow them on social media, share their work, donate if you're able to, and keep their work going and keep the awareness going as well. We really, really need to seize the moment and stop being so patient now and push for real change. I'm going to end on two things. Firstly, on a statement from FEAT, and then I'm going to come back to something which I mentioned at the very, very start. So the aim of FEAT is finally ending animal testing in the UK. With your help, we can make the April campaign a great success right across the UK and bring the plight of animals and laboratories firmly back into the public consciousness. From there, the campaign will continue to generate awareness through social media, online discussions, outreach, demonstrations, protests, direct action, and applying pressure to government institutions in order to force change. Animal testing is both immoral and bad science. We need to bring the scientific community firmly into the 21st century by finally ending animal testing. Let's do this together because we can change the world. So the second thing I want to mention is, I remember at the start, I said that every 8 seconds an animal dies in a UK lab. In the time I've been speaking with you, 45 animals have been killed. So 45 animals, imagine those in a room next to you, whichever room you're in now, and imagine those 45 animals have been killed just in the time that you've listened to this. So let's really do some good work here, and let's finally end animal testing. So I'm going to sign off now. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Anna Amelia from North East Animal Rights. Goodbye for now.